Welcome back to Help of Christians. I'm Antoinette, and on this channel I discuss Catholic and Protestant prophecy, and I try to find the common theme that God is speaking to all of his people. This video is going to be a little bit different than usual. I'm actually going to go through some of the images that a seer gets when they are in the Holy Mass. So I have a child that is a seer. She sees lots of different things, especially during adoration and mass. And these are just things that will really touch people's hearts, and really just solidify how amazing mass is and how heaven and earth touch during mass. So we want to share these things, and the Lord has been telling us that these will edify people. So here we go. Okay, so one of the first mass that I'm going to tell you about, I started having her kind of draw pictures, and she's not quite an artist, but she does her best to kind of draw out the details. So what I might do is use AI for good. We might put some of these descriptions in the AI generator so you can get more of an understanding of what she's seeing. Obviously it's not gonna be perfect, but it might be better than me just trying to explain it and her just sketching it out real quick during mass, but anyway, so this was June 29th of 2025. This was the feast of Saints Peter and Paul, and generally she doesn't even pay attention to what feast day it is, but I thought this was really interesting because she saw at the mass in the heavens, she saw Saint Peter and Saint Paul, and she even saw the symbolism that shows up with them, which she saw bells. I'm not sure how that's the symbolism that goes with them, but maybe one of you can put in the comments why bells would show up. But she saw bells. She wrote that down because that was kind of more out of the ordinary. And she also saw the upside down cross, like St. Peter was crucified. And usually she sees, I guess I'll put right here, she sees what this popular picture of the Mass. She says it's very similar. It's she sees a ton of angels there. She sees all these people, layers of them, almost like they would be in bleachers, you could see of people in heaven, and they are following along with the Mass, and they're God the Father or Jesus is usually in a throne seated, and Mary is usually standing next to Jesus, and then they're following along with the priest that is putting the Mass, presiding over the Mass that we are at. So I guess that's a grace that I don't know if that's the word, that God is not interfering with the Mass. He's not one-upping the priest that you are at the Mass with. He is following along with them. So that's a beautiful thing for the priest. I mean, if they can only see it. And then at the time of consecration, she has seen drops of blood drop into the chalice, and also at the time of giving out communion, there is there's always a different priest or multiple priests that she sees in heaven giving out communion. She's seen Padre Pio. She's seen several of the different popes, not any recent ones. Actually, she did say she saw John Paul II multiple times giving out communion in heaven. She's seen, actually recently, she saw some priests that she doesn't even know. She says sometimes if she doesn't know who they are, there's almost a little label of their name, which is interesting because some of the priests, some of the popes from way back, she didn't know who they were. Or we might not even have a picture of some of them, but there was I don't know, God puts a label for her to read. I don't know. But recently, I have to look and see. Just a few days ago, we were at Mass, and she said, sorry, I'm trying to look through her notebook. She said there was a Father Joe and a Father Chris handing out communion. She had no idea who they were, and it's not like a well-known pope or saint or anything, but she wrote it down because I've been asking her just to make sure that there's details if we're gonna kind of deliver this information to people. You know, I'm sure these are details that y'all would want to know. When she sees Mary, it's pretty interesting because Mary is always wearing like beautiful clothes, beautiful dresses, and they're always very unique. Not typically the apparition dresses that we've become like accustomed to. So on this day, this feast of St. Peter and Paul, Mary was wearing like a gold gown, and there was gems embroidered all along the shoulders, and there was like a heart in the center, and she saw white sandals on her, and the dress was very flowy. She always sees Jesus usually in just a white robe, and then he usually has like a sash that's different colors. I think this day the sash was blue, and it actually had multiple levels, not just one way. So it kind of crossed back and forth. And it looks like she wrote that Peter and Paul were both wearing blue with white belts. So this was an older one, so there's minimal information kind of. So we were at a Saturday evening mass, and I asked her in July, like, what happens when the consecration goes on? And so she says she sees like the normal host or the normal chalice, and then at the time of consecration there's like the spirit kind of coming into the element, and then it transforms and it looks like flesh, but it's still in the same shape, where the chalice looks similar still, but you can tell that there's blood in it. And everything looks gold. And at this mass, for some reason, she said it looked like gold was being given out when the communion was being given. And she says the priest, she didn't know, she's never seen it before, so she wasn't able to name him at that one. So sometimes things are different. Sometimes she gets many details, and sometimes it's a little bit more blurry. I guess, you know, it depends on how much she's focused, and obviously how much the Lord wants to give at that moment, and what information he wants to be focused on, you know. Okay, so the next mass that I'm going to tell you about was from 11/29/25. I guess I made a note, this is the last day of the year of mercy and the first day of Advent. So some of the interesting things she saw while she was looking into the heavens, she saw the people, not just Mary and Jesus, were wearing purple and white. And she looked at the throne. She looked at details of the throne that Jesus is sitting in, and there was like a carpet going up to it, almost like a red carpet, but it was purple, red, and white. And then the throne he was sitting in was gold with diamonds all throughout the back. So I can't find, I've had her write these down just kind of on like random pieces of paper, and whatever notebook the kids are coloring in, she'll sometimes doodle what she's seen, but she's seen multiple different thrones. Sometimes there's rubies, sometimes, I don't know, there's just different things I can't think. Obviously, this one has diamonds now. So I don't know if this is like the throne or just where he's seated when Mass is going on, but I thought that was very interesting to see. Okay, so a more recent Mass was from March 13th, 2026. She wrote what Mary was wearing. She said she had on a dress that was high in the neck, and the sleeves were kind of flared out, and the bottom was kind of flared out, but there was diamonds all along the flares of the bottom. Red and white heels with diamonds she was wearing, and ruby hearts. So this would be like not just the color ruby, like actually made of rubies, all along her waist sash. And then her veil had rubies and diamonds encrusted all along the edge of the veil. This is a message that was received on March 13th, 2026. It says, "You need to prepare for what I am sending. You need to start praying like it is your last day on earth. I need my children to be out of harm's way and prepared. Please start receiving the sacraments. Get your children baptized in the church. Start getting sacramentals blessed. Start preparing with gold and silver. It is most needed in the times to come." So another outfit of the day, that's like my favorite thing. That's why she writes down all the outfits that Mary wears. This was from March 15th, 2026. She drew like a high necked dress, and it has like scalloping up at the neck. And then there's a design around the belt, and then the cuffs of the arm, and the dress is long, and at the very end there's lots of crosses in the design, and they're made with blue, they're like blue and amber crosses. And then in the kind of like around the legs, I guess, there are kind of like holes all throughout the dress, but there's not holes, it's almost like see-through circles, I guess. And she said they're like windows to the soul. So what exactly that means, I don't know. She doesn't know. But she could just tell, like, it's just a sense and an understanding that she could get. And then Jesus was again wearing just the white outfit tunic, I guess, that he always wears. But he had a sash going across his chest. And it's made from the river that flows, all the mercy that flows. And then she saw a cross and like floating, I guess, kind of. And it was the cross of peace for the dead. So again, she gets like different images and different things that kind of are highlighted when she looks at the Mass and with her spirit eyes, and different things that God points out. So how cool is that there's a river of flowing mercy across the Lord's chest? I mean, just phenomenal. So those are just some of the things that she saw recently at the Masses, or that I could kind of pull out that we've drawn in different prayer notebooks. We're going to try and be a little bit more diligent about keeping track now that the Lord has really pushed us to make sure to share this information with you all. You know, just pray for us, because I'm sure a lot is going to come, and we just need to be covered in prayer, especially her. So thank you for checking this out. Share, like, subscribe, all those things, so that this Christian content can actually reach people, and it isn't buried by the powers that be and the algorithm. So thanks again. God bless you all.